Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. We're going to take a look at something a little bit different this time, and I think a valuable lesson can be learned from this particular infographic from Visual Capitalist about the Warren Buffett empire. Yes, I think we're going to find quite interesting as we explore this, and I think most of the viewers of this channel will be able to pick it out right away. But what crucial thing is missing, or at least that we know of that's missing? More on that later. But this is kind of outlining Warren Buffett's empire. I don't know very little about this man, but he's got his hand in a lot of different things here in his basket of companies owned here. Geico, Clayton Homes, PCC, all the different employees, Fruit of the Loom. Boy, he's in a lot of different things here for sure. Quite fascinating indeed. He's all over the place in his investments here. We've got Duracell battery, Benjamin Moore paints, all kinds of things, all up and down here. Quite fascinating. And other companies and employees he has. So, you know, that's interesting how a company is owned by Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett's big company. There's a lot of other ones there that are mentioned. And that information is not available to us, but that's a big chunk there for sure between all these different companies. And but quite fascinating. So that alone, it just goes to show you just how wealthy this man is and has done a lot of made a lot of right moves to be able to make all that money. And this is their Berkshire portfolio. It's mentioned here that Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio can be broken down into two categories: the companies it owns outright or majority stakes in, and the companies it owns significant investments in. And other notable brands that it owns are Spalding, Jinsu, Omaha World Herald, and Orange Julius. Very interesting indeed. And we can look back over here and see a little bit about Warren Buffett's primary investment vehicle is through Berkshire Hathaway. Let's explore this a little bit. He is the chairman and CEO, and he personally owns 36.8% of the company. And then over here, it mentions that Berkshire Hathaway is associated with Buffett and his longtime partner, Charlie Munger. But the origins of the company actually stem from 1839. The original company was a textile mill in Rhode Island. By 1948, Berkshire employed 11,000 people and brought in $29.5 million in revenue, which is about $300 million today. Berkshire's stock began to decline in the 50s, and Buffett started buying shares in 1962. And in 1964, the company's CEO, Brad Seabury Stanton, tendered an offer to buy Buffett's shares for $11.37, which was 13 cents less than he had promised. This maddened Buffett, so he opted to buy more shares instead. Eventually, he took control of the company and fired Stanton along the way. Berkshire Hathaway was his. And that's the origins of it. Now we'll go back through here and take a look at the company itself. S&P 15%, 508 of the S&P, 9.9% compound annualized gain. And so you look at the percentages there and the numbers here and the value over time. Since from 1965 all the way to 2015, you see how much value the company has. And then the revenue by the business segments. Berkshire is a conglomerate made up of hundreds of companies in different industries. However, segments of revenue does give an idea of how Berkshire makes its money. And we can see here insurance, I mean, you can see all the different kinds there. Fascinating. Service and retailing, McLean Company. The revenue comes in from manufacturing, BNSF. And then here is their cash position that we'll explore here. And it's quite fascinating to see how it's evolved and how it's accumulated through the recession. But now, look at it, it's grown significantly. And in 2018, it's spiked up here. And it's nearing $125 billion. Fascinating indeed. By the end of 2017, Berkshire accumulated $116 billion in cash, more than almost any other company in the world. Very good. And there's a segment on the geographic footprint and how financed media and Heinz, Ketchup, all these different companies. Fascinating indeed to see all of these things that Warren Buffett has his hands in through his company, Berkshire Hathaway. Now this doesn't really give us into his personal holdings, but by and large, you can tell by the kind of companies that he has through here, spread out across the United States, of where he has money and investments. None of them, at least, show anything related to precious metals. And it'd be interesting to see if he does have any precious metals. And if he doesn't, and if he's against precious metals or what have you, then this just goes to show us that all of this stuff that he has here, and despite all, if the economy were to crash, and a much harder crash, which some are saying could happen, worse than the 2008 crisis, he has much more to lose than I think those of us who hold precious metals. So I don't know how well balanced his personal portfolio is, but considering that all of his investments and stuff are through Berkshire, then you can pretty much safely assume, unless some of this information up here with given where the percentages of everything are, these other companies that we don't know, is where is that money, or where is he putting some of his investments? If they're not in gold or silver, he stands to lose a lot if something were big and drastic were to happen in relation to the economy. But what are your thoughts? What do you think he has done? Or, is there something we're not seeing here? Maybe he does have some. We heard Mark Cuban. I did a video about that, how he had talked about gold and how it's not, basically it's nothing, and it's not money, and it's not worth looking into. but he probably owns some, I'm sure, somewhere, and just not telling us about it because he wants to make his money on other aspects of it. And I think some of these really ultra wealthy, it's in their best interest that the economy do good. And so if they hold gold and silver, it means that their faith in their investments is little. But my guess is probably Warren Buffett has some money set aside in the precious metals. What do you think? Post your thoughts below on this. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for watching, and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.